Hey, movie fans, this is Joe at the movies, and today we are going to be talking about part of the 4 hour Disney Investors Call, which they made into a huge production. It was pretty cool. I don't recommend everyone watch it, it is 4 hours, but I'm going to briefly run down parts of it. I was going to do one video, but they did release so much information that I'm going to break it down into two or three videos. And this first one is going to start with my favorite thing in cinema is Star Wars. So a lot of stuff coming from Star Wars. They announced 10 projects, most for Disney Plus, one feature, which is good. I'm glad. So I'm going to briefly give a description on each one, what I think about it, and then at the end I'm going to rate them all based on my anticipation of each show. So, first show we're going to talk about is Obi-Wan Kenobi limited series coming to Disney Plus. It's going to be starring Ewan McGregor and returning to Star Wars, Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker slash Darth Vader. That should be interesting. Meh. The showrunner for it, though, gives me some hope. It's Deborah Chow. If you're not familiar with her, she directed two of the better episodes of season one Mandalorian, so she does know what she's doing. I believe she's going to be writing and directing every episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Rumor is kind of that there is going to be another fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I really just don't want to see that. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people do. I know some people, younger people, think that the fight in the original Star Wars between Obi-Wan and Vader looks a little clunky, but they're old men at that point. You know, they've had rough lives. Vader's half robot at that time, so I really just, I like the story the way it is between them two, but I will watch it and I'll probably like it. So yeah. Next is the feature Rogue Squadron, directed by Patty Jenkins, who you will probably know from Wonder Woman. She directed Wonder Woman in the upcoming Wonder Woman 1984. She did a little video on her own as part of the presentation that was really touching. She told the story about how she always wanted to make the best fighter pilot movie of all time to honor her father, who was a fighter pilot, and I believe she said the Navy, and lost his life tragically in service to this country. And she said in all her years of working, she's never come across a script that was just right to be the best fighter pilot movie until she either read or wrote Rogue Squadron. I'm sorry. And it's going to be a movie about X-wings. We don't know when the time period is that it's going to be set in, but I'm kind of excited for that because some of my favorite parts of every Star Wars movie, other than the lightsaber fights, are the space battles. The space battle in Rogue One is fantastic. My favorite space battle of all time is Return of the Jedi at the third act. So I'm excited to see a whole movie of nothing but dogfights in space with X-wings. Third is The Acolyte. This is something completely different that Star Wars has never done. It's another Disney Plus story set a few hundred years prior to the Skywalker saga, which I'm very happy about. I think it's long past time that we get out of that era. And I guess the protagonist of the story is going to be a Sith apprentice or a dark side user. So that's something we haven't seen in Star Wars before. It's always told from the point of view of the good guys. So now we're going to see something from the dark side, and I'm sure there'll be a redemption story, and the main character, will eventually turn good. Who knows? Maybe he or she won't. So I'm interested to see that. The logo for the show is awesome. They showed a logo. It's blood red with a lightsaber slash through the word "the acolyte." Yeah, that's hardcore. I definitely want to see that. Ahsoka, the character that just debuted in Mandalorian a couple weeks ago in live action, anyway, is getting her own limited series. Little background on the character in case you're unfamiliar if you've not seen the Clone Wars or Rebels. Ahsoka Tano was the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, who eventually we know becomes Darth Vader. Her stories are told in Clone Wars primarily, and then continued on in Rebels, and then she shows up in Mandalorian. So hopefully, this series will give her her character a proper ending. So I'm excited for that as well. Uh, Lando, Lando Calrissian's getting a show. limited series or a show. I think it's a limited series. Uh, I don't know if it's going to be Billy D. Williams or Donald Glover, who played him in the Solo movie, which I actually kind of liked, especially his performance, but he's a fantastic actor. I actually hope it has both of them. I hope it goes back and forth in time and you get to see Billy D. Williams as old Lando telling stories of his youth, and then it flashbacks to Donald Glover doing whatever Lando was talking about. I'm kind of excited for that. It should be interesting. Should be fun at least. Andor. Andor is a show about Diego Luna's character, Cassian Andor from Rogue One. It's probably going to have tie-ins to Clone Wars and Rebels because the character was a separatist during the Clone Wars and he later became a rebel. Personally, I've had enough of this era of Star Wars. I'm kind of tired of the in between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. I think they've told that story enough, and but I really like Diego Luna. I've seen him since he was a kid. I watched him in Open Range, I believe was the movie. Did a great job in it. Anyway, good actor. The Bad Batch, another animated show coming. Seems to be a spinoff of Clone Wars. The Bad Batch is about a group of clone troopers. There's 4 of them who were mutated, but mutated with benefits that the Republic saw. Like one was really strong, one was really good with tech. One was modeled off Rambo, even had the red headband and used a knife. He was really cool. It looks like it's going to pick up right after the events of Revenge of the Sith. You actually get to see Emperor Palpatine declare that the Republic is being reformed into the Empire, and you see it from the clones' point of view. So, a little interested to see that because I like Clone Wars, and the animation style is in the same vein as Clone Wars. But like I said about Andor, I'm kind of done with that era. I like more what they're doing with Acolyte, going into an era a couple hundred years before what we've seen before, or I wish they would do more stuff later in the future beyond the Skywalker saga. Anyway, A Droid Story. It's an animated special starring C-3PO and R2-D2. I'm sure it's going to be more for kids. I'll watch it. Maybe it's good. The Lego Star Wars holiday special was actually pretty good, and it's totally for kids. Much better than the one they did in 1979 on, I believe it was CBS. Oh, that's terrible. Please don't watch that. Star Wars Visions. It's an animated anthology story. They've recently done 2 books. Disney, through I think Del Rey Publishing, put out 2 books called From a Certain Point of View, from the line Obi-Wan uses in Return of the Jedi about why he, quote unquote, lied to Luke about his father. And it kind of fills in the gaps of the movies. The first one was Star Wars From a Certain Point of View, and the second one was The Empire Strikes Back From a Certain Point of View. And it's a collection of little short stories that just kind of fill in the gaps of the movies. I expect that's what this will be. It's an anime show. I'm not the biggest on anime as a style of animation, but if the story's good enough, I can get over that. And there are a couple of anime shows and movies that I have actually enjoyed. It's just not my preferred style of animation. And finally, Rangers of the New Republic. This one sounds really interesting. Same showrunners of The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau, who directed the first 2 Iron Man movies and many, many other great movies. Chef, if you've not seen that, it's another good one. And Dave Filoni, the creator of the Clone Wars and the Rebels show, and also directed several episodes of The Mandalorian. This show is going to be kind of like a crossover culmination of multiple shows that they're doing on Disney Plus that are Star Wars themed. Kind of like the Avengers of Star Wars. So we have that to look forward to. In the Ahsoka episode, spoilers if you haven't seen The Mandalorian Season 2 this far, she is searching for information on a villain called Grand Admiral Thrawn, who is he's a good villain. I'll just say that. He's very cold, very calculating, but has a charm about him. You like him. You like to hate him. I'll say it that way. I think this will be the show where we finally deal with Grand Admiral Thrawn from the story that started in the Rebels show. I would say they'll do a good enough job with catching people up so you don't have to watch Rebels. But an actor named Lars Mikkelsen voiced Grand Admiral Thrawn in Rebels, and I hope they get him for the live action version because he looks enough like the character and his voice is just so good. His brother is actually Mads Mikkelsen, who's been in a ton of movies and TV. I'm drawing a blank right now. I can't think of anything, but he was Hannibal in the Hannibal show, if you watch that. So he's been all over the place lately, and he's a very talented actor. So finally, we're to this end. This is my rank of anticipation. How excited I am for these shows. Number 10, a droid story. It's mostly for kids. I'm just not really excited for that. Visions, the anime anthology show. Again, just anime is not my thing, but I'm going to watch all 10 of these, no doubt about that. 8 is Andor, for reasons mentioned about just wanting to get out of this era of Star Wars. Number 7 is Obi-Wan. I think a lot of people would thought that would have been higher on my list, but the reason why is, like I said earlier, I don't really want or need to see another Anakin, Vader, whatever, an Obi-Wan fight. And I think Obi-Wan's story has been told effectively through the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and the Clone Wars show. I don't really think we need to see any more of Obi-Wan Kenobi. But again, I'll watch it. Number 6, Bad Batch. It only made it this high on the list just because it seems to be a direct sequel to Clone Wars, and it's one of my favorite animated shows of all time. So that got it a little higher than it probably should have. Number 5, The Lando Show. I'm actually very excited to see what they do with this because I think Lando's a fantastic character. Both actors that have portrayed him, Billy D. Williams and Donald Glover, are both great. Man, I never get enough of Billy D. Williams. Number 4, Rangers of the New Republic. I think looks like a very interesting premise. It's about time they took a little cue from Marvel and start converging some of their storylines. So I think that could be good. And considering the showrunners are the same ones doing The Mandalorian, and it has been good so far, I'm excited to see that. Number 2, Ahsoka. I've followed this character since she made her debut in the Clone Wars movie, I believe in 2008 or 9, and I'm just very invested in this character and want to see how it ends. And the number 1 most anticipated Star Wars announcement at the Disney Investors Meet was The Acolyte. I am so excited to see something told from the dark side point of view. Everybody loves a good villain. Admit it. You love Hans Gruber in Die Hard. You love Darth Vader in Star Wars. I want to see what they do in a show with a Sith apprentice just doing her thing or his thing. I think they did actually say the lead would be a female, so it'll be a female antagonist, protagonist. I don't know how you would label that. I guess a villainous protagonist. Anyway, I'm very excited for that. Very excited for all of this. This is a Star Wars fan's fantasy to get 10 items dropped in one day. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you at the movies. Hey, and do me a solid. Don't be afraid to smash that like button. Definitely subscribe, leave a comment, and share with your friends. Because this is good stuff. You know it is. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you later.